Are you ready to roll? We back. Episode 6.
Let's go.
Episode 6. The boys are back, squeezing the juice on the weekly. We had kind of a rough week last week, but there's some bounce backs.
Well, it was wild. It was, for me, a tale of two cities. I can't say the same for you. So in college, let's get it started.
The rundown.
I was 0-4 in college. You were 1-3. You're looking at these games that we picked. Bama at Ole Miss. We both were riding on Bama. Bama won by 6. L. UCF at Tulane. We both were all about the green wave. L.
The wave crashed.
Washington at Oregon. That was a crazy game. A great game to watch, but Washington pulled out the win. So the Oregon minus 12.5. Nowhere to be found in that one. L. And then the last game, TCU at Texas, that was an L for me, a dub for you. TCU won 17-10, but a really ugly game. The defense for TCU showed out. Quinn Ewers is terrible now. Everything positive I said about him, you can throw that in the trash. You can throw that in the incinerator. It's gone. So just a really ugly week for us in college. And then the NFL, for me, I flipped the script, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was 5-0 in NFL, which is just crazy because I'd been so down in the NFL, and then you were 2-3. And if you look at the games, Lions at Bears, come on now.
I'm happy about it. I texted you in the middle of the day.
I know.
If the Lions win, I'm not mad at the loss because it was a close one, though, man. I mean,
when they were down 14 the fourth quarter, I was like, Justin was right. But then they pulled out the win. They got the clutch stop. They got the pick 6. They made plays happen. Very uncharacteristic of this Lions team. They found a way to win, though, which they just have not been doing. So it was great to see that. It was a great win for the Lions, and then a great win for me, being able to celebrate that, spread dub. And then moving on to Browns at Dolphins. What a complete dominant performance from the Dolphins, right?
I know. I agree.
39-17. I mean, that was a 3.5-point spread. We said, yeah, mindless. Take the Fins. They won by 22 points. Woo. Moving on to Colts at Raiders. Jeff Saturday gets it done in his first
Sunday.
game. Jeff Saturday, Colts plus 4.5. I had a feeling about that one. The NFL's weird. Weird stories make weird games, and that was a very weird story. We'd never seen anything like it, and it made for a very entertaining game in the 4 o'clock window. You love to see that one. Unfortunate for you because you were on the Raiders minus 4.5.
I thought it was going to happen.
I felt like the Colts could keep it close. I didn't think they'd win, but I thought maybe it's a field goal game. They won. They won.
Jonathan Taylor is kind of reviving back a bit. Not a ton, but
I think it helped having Matt Ryan back in there, a leader, a veteran presence. Sam Ehlinger was just not up for the task. He looked very nervous back there, very skittish, did not really know what to do with the football at times, just was holding on too long. Matt Ryan's like, let me take control of this offense. I got it, boys. And you saw that scramble that he had.
I know. I was like, this man, who's this? This man's got legs.
I don't know.
When did this guy get legs? Could have helped, in that Super Bowl a couple years ago.
Hey. So then moving on to Cardinals at Rams. Cardinals with a dominant 27-17 performance. Really wasn't even that close. The Cardinals were so impressive in that one, and it was a battle of the backup quarterbacks.
And that was unfortunate because, once I was hopeful that Stafford was going to play. Didn't work out, and that was just an unfortunate timing. There's nothing you can do about that.
You know what?
That's the unfortunate of us picking a day or two ahead, but that's just how we roll.
I mean, we kind of knew, Rams minus 3. You're thinking, okay, maybe Stafford's back, but I kind of trusted Colt McCoy.
He's
who's
way
just
better.
A professional. He knows how to get it done. I just kind of trust him in that spot. I was like, you know what? Cards plus 3. The Rams don't look good at all. Now they're picking 8th in the draft, which is coming back to us, so we love that. But they just don't look like a football team that's ready to compete on Sunday at all. The offensive line is terrible. Injuries are piling up. Cooper Kupp just went down. It's a really ugly scene in LA right now, and you just hate to see it after they won the Super Bowl. I mean, we don't hate to see it, but if you're a Rams fan, you hate, you got your Super Bowl, now this is what you get. So
yeah, all those first round picks are gone. Your team's crumbling. Aaron Donald, McVay should have walked away.
Well, this is what happens when you don't have any depth. You lose picks in the first, second round. That's when talent is at its best. And when you don't have those picks, you're losing depth over time. And a couple injuries here and there. Now their offensive line couldn't. They can't compete. Their receiving core is not very deep at all.
Van Jefferson's been out like all season.
He's gone. Cooper Kupp's now on the IR. And look, the defense, sure, you still have Aaron Donald, you still have Jalen Ramsey, and you got Bobby Wagner, but outside of that, you don't got much. So, yeah, ugly for the Rams. And then our last game, Vikings at Bills, one of the best games of the regular season.
Well, that was insane.
Probably will go down as the best game of the regular season. A very lucky Vikings team continues to get lucky with Josh Allen fumbling at the goal line.
You're still riding the luck train, aren't you?
I'll give them props for winning, but yeah, I mean, that game should have been over.
You're thinking more the Vikings are. You're thinking more. It was the Bills playing bad recently, more so than the Vikings being good.
Well, here's the thing: the Bills defense got the final stop. They got Kirk Cousins down before he crossed the goal line on that 4th and goal, and if you're a Bills fan, you're thinking we got this wrapped up, right? They're up by 4. They got about the one QB sneak, or maybe even take a safety, and then trust your defense to not give up a field goal. But just a crazy game, and yeah, I do think that of course that would happen for the Vikings, So, but we were both on Vikings +3, and that luck that they got, that Allen fumble, did help us secure that spread. So I'm not complaining that much because it did lead to a 5-0 week for me in the NFL. Got you a win to get you up to 2-3, but I do think that was another spell of luck for the Vikings. But with all that being said, my college record now sits at 13-12. Yours sits at 11-14. My NFL record now somehow is better than my college record. After my 5-0 week, I'm sitting at 13-11-2. You're still sitting at a very pretty 14-9-2 in the NFL. Beautiful. That brings my overall record up to 26-23-2. Still positive, still fighting hard. And you were at 25-23-2. So just one win behind me. Looks like I have one more, game or
that money line.
Yeah, I think it was the over, and then the over in the Oklahoma State game a while back. Oklahoma State TCU. Yeah. That was like that, additional one I gave you, and then took an extra loss at that Lions money line. But
yeah, I remember that.
It is what it is. So those are our records. That's the recap, and we are on to episode 6 in our new slate of college and NFL games.
It's a doozy because there's not a ton of. It's pretty much a ranked Pac-12 kind of week. That's pretty much what it is. But the other games, we got some juicy ones for unranked versus ranked because these teams may be unranked, but they're not going to go down without a fight.
No.
That is absolutely certain.
This slate scares me for college football. I told you this pre-show. I'm terrified. I'm so nervous, especially for the first game we got up here. It's nerve-wracking.
I mean, this game could be the last potential shot at the downfall of this team, arguably.
I don't know when there will be because
the playoff?
I don't know. I don't know. They keep proving me wrong.
So we'll see what happens. So first game on the college slate is for TCU, still undefeated. Surprisingly, they head to Waco, play unranked Baylor. It is Baylor plus 2.5. Baylor's had an interesting season. They've had some good wins, but they've had some bad losses too. They've had their strides, and it's like they're very up and down compared to what we saw last season.
Yeah, Baylor's weird, right? they have not been good at all this season when it comes down to actually performing in some of those bigger games. They have not really lived up to what they were last year, which was, in my opinion, one of the best teams in the country. At the end of the season, that's the way they looked. And you're thinking, okay, maybe that momentum carries into this season. Hasn't been the case so far. But look, you're talking about this game specifically. 90% of the bets, according to FanDuel, are on TCU minus 2.5. But yet this number is not moving at all. It's been 2.5 at the open since this game opened up this week, and we're taping on Thursday. It's still 2.5. So with all the money pouring in on TCU, you're not seeing this line change at all, which just is very concerning to me. It makes me very nervous about picking this game. And we talked about it. Baylor, they just haven't had like a signature win this season. And they just got embarrassed against Kansas State last week, 31-3. So This is not exactly a team that's riding hot that you can trust. They've ripped off 5 in a row, couple ranked wins. No, that's not Baylor. That's just not Baylor this year. And on top of that, you're going back a little bit of history here. TCU's won 9 of the last 13 matchups against Baylor, and they upset a very good Baylor team last year, 30-28. Mm-hmm. And that's, this is not the same, TCU team as last year, but a lot of guys have returned, and they've lived up to the bill so far. I mean, they shut me up last week. They beat Texas on the road when I thought they wouldn't beat Texas. I've called them lucky. I've called them names, and they keep on winning. And on top of all of that, TCU is 8-1-1 against the spread this year. That is insane. So I keep looking at TCU. I keep telling you that they're not good. I keep telling you that they're lucky. I keep telling you they're overrated. They're this, they're that. And they keep winning. They keep finding ways to win. And not just win, they also find ways to cover the spread. So I don't know what to do here. I want to
hear me first?
I want to hear your pick first.
Okay.
Hopefully I set the table.
I got you.
Now give me the
feast.
what you're saying.
Good statement. But so it's been a weird season for Oklahoma or Baylor because they lost to Oklahoma State, which could have been a good win for them. Normally, Oklahoma's ranked, so a win like that would be huge because they beat Oklahoma, but they were unranked,
no,
and Oklahoma was on their skid at the end of their skid kind of during that period of time. So it's just Baylor's just too wild and up and down. But they have to run the ball well to win. Because when they rush over 170 yards, they're 5-0 on the season, which is kind of crazy. But they're 1-4 when they don't. So that's a bold statement.
Okay.
And TCU also hasn't let over 200 yards in a game rushing on the season.
So TCU is solid against the runner, or at least good enough to probably not let Baylor run for over 170.
Exactly.
You would assume.
Yeah.
Maybe the script changes. I don't know. I want it to in some ways, but
TCU's only given up over 170 yards rushing 3 times. And they haven't let anyone go over 4 or go over 2.
Yeah, I don't. Who do you got in this game? Because I think I'm going to stick with my last week. I think I went a little too gut. This week I'm going to insert a little bit more logic, but also heavy on the gut here.
Last week I was too logic.
You were too logic.
I was way too logic. My gut would have had me at least probably 3-1 in the college games.
Yeah, for sure.
And my gut's telling me TCU minus 2.5. I ain't gonna be stupid.
Oh, well, I am going to be stupid. Give me Baylor plus 2.5. The spread, it's just the spread for me. 2.5 for Baylor. This should not be a field goal game. This should be a lot bigger. You're looking at TCU. They're number 4 in the country. They have beaten every single opponent that's come through their doors. They have like 5 ranked wins in the year. And Vegas is just not respecting them. So until Vegas actually shows them some respect, I'm just going to keep playing the wild card game here. I'll go Baylor plus 2.5. I hate the pick, but it's what my mind is telling me to do. It's not. I'm not listening to my gut at all because my gut is telling me stop hating on TCU, give them some respect, pick them here. But my mind is telling me Baylor plus 2.5. That's weird. That stinks. That's a stinky spread. So I'm going to go with the stinky spread.
Guts. It's all guts here, baby.
Yeah, I can't.
On to the next. I love this game. It is scary, but I love this game.
Oh.
We got 14 Ole Miss coming off that unfortunate loss to Bama, and they head to unranked Arkansas. It is Arkansas plus 2.5. Oh, the juice. KJ Jefferson is expected back this week, which could be a big factor for their run game and just their offense, but we'll see.
So this is a tough one for me, too. This is just like the other game. So Arkansas lost a really close one against LSU last week. Not too surprising because I think you're looking at that game. It's a letdown spot maybe for LSU coming off a huge win against Bama. Arkansas, they're a good coach team. Sam Pittman's done a nice job in Arkansas. So I'm not terribly surprised it was a close win for LSU. But, you look at the other side of the field. Lane Kiffin, the Rebels, they played Alabama really, really tough. Unfortunate loss. They surprised me, honestly. I did not think that they were going to compete in that game.
I agree.
And they did. I thought they would lay down, kind of show a very, lazy, slow performance like they did against LSU. That was not the case. They came ready to play, and they played Alabama really, really tough. I was impressed by their performance, but I think Arkansas is getting a little bit of value here. I liked the way they played against LSU. That was a really hot LSU offense. Holding them to 13 points, I think, is extremely impressive. And then again, kind of like TCU, the public is heavy on Ole Miss. 88% of the bets are on the spread are on Ole Miss, according to FanDuel. I'm not going to tell you to blindly bet against what the public is doing, but between two teams that have not been very impressive, I'm going to take the home team. I'm going to take the team that just held what I think is one of the best teams in the country in LSU to 13 points. It's all about Woo Pig Suey for me this week. I'm taking Arkansas plus 2.5.
Razorbacks.
Razorbacks, Woo Pig Suey.
I love that. Arkansas is 5-1 when they have over 430 yards of total offense, and they're 0-4 when they don't. So the offense has to be firing on all cylinders, my friend. And one of the worst things for Arkansas is that they are awful on third downs, defending third downs. I mean, their defense is pretty strong, honestly, but if we're talking, it's getting 3 and outs, it seems is very unfortunate in their favor.
Well, if Ole Miss can just run it down Arkansas's throat all game, then Ole Miss should have no issue. But if you're getting into third downs and it's 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, I'm not trusting Jackson Dart to make plays with his arm. If Ole Miss can run the football all day long, they should win this game no problem. But if Arkansas can force some longer third downs, now you're forcing Jackson Dart to make a play with his arm. I don't necessarily trust that, and it's not like Ole Miss's defense is crazy. They've given up points plentiful this year to many teams. So I think Arkansas has a shot to have a good day on offense. And I don't know. What are you thinking in this one? Because I know you love Hotty Toddy. I know you love your Rebels, but I mean, this is a scary spot. 2.5 points on the road. I don't know.
It is. Arkansas is good. They are. I think they are a really good team, and they know how to play ball. They were on a roll 3 or 4 games in, and people were like, okay, they're playing good this year, but they've had that the past couple of years where they're on a roll.
They've stumbled some games,
and it's hard to base it off the first 3 games because most teams play unless you play the big kickoffs. Most are non-conference kind of easier wins. But the crazy thing is when I said 430 yards of offense. Ole Miss has allowed over 430 yards of offense 4 times.
Yeah, so their defense is not very good.
But they're the comeback kids because they've won 3 out of those 4. So even
if
with
you're looking
offense,
at Arkansas, who's undefeated when you bring in those stats,
apples and oranges.
But Ole Miss, they're.
I like apples.
I do too.
Have one every day. But at the end of it, I'm taking Ole Miss minus 2.5.
I knew you would. It's a good pick. I'm not mad at you for it.
I shocked you last week.
You did, and
I shouldn't have done it.
No, you wanted to pick Ole Miss, but you didn't.
I know.
So I'm proud of you picking Ole Miss in this spot.
Ryder.
I just look at both these teams. They both have not been impressive. You had Arkansas losing to Liberty a couple weeks ago, 21-19.
That was crazy.
But then you have Ole Miss getting blown out by LSU. Ole Miss.
It looks like a better blowout by now, though.
It does, and they only have 2 losses on the year, right? Just them and Alabama. So it's not like they've had a bad loss, but they also haven't really been impressive either. They haven't really had.
They've been a good
win.
SEC team, but they haven't been that legit.
Right, and I think Arkansas has had some poor performances, but I think you also look at last week. They fared well against LSU, and I think that they could fare well against Ole Miss. So we'll see. I think you might be on the right side of it with this one, but I'm just gonna trust Woo Pig Suey. I love that. Let's go Sam Pittman.
Razors.
Let's go Razorbacks.
All righty. We head across the country to the battle in the Coliseum.
Yes.
The Battle of LA. 7 USC, 16 UCLA. UCLA plus 2.5. This could be a wild game. This could be let's sling it till this might be like that UCLA game. Was it against Texas A&M versus Utah? Talk about Josh Rosen. Remember that game at UCLA? I think it was against A&M. Might have been. I don't know. I'm just thinking of that game where they went to triple overtime. It was 56 to 54. It could be one of those kind of games.
I think you're right on. And I was thinking more so of the USC versus Utah earlier this year when USC went on the road against Utah and just felt like they couldn't stop scoring. you had a couple turnovers that led to Utah winning that game. But you look at this game, this is a really monumental game for these two programs because it feels like LA football is kind of on its way back.
Mm-hmm.
And now that they're both coming to the Big Ten, as we assume, this is a statement game, in my opinion, for who is going to be the face of LA football going forward. I think this game has a lot of impact. You have Lincoln Riley and Chip Kelly, both iconic college football head coaches, and it doesn't feel like they're going anywhere with their programs. Like they're not, like they both just came in, basically. They're going to be around for a long time. So this is really and it's their first time facing off, too. So this is a really important game, in my opinion. Just more so off the football field, kind of just into the future. Like moving forward, I think this game means a lot.
Also, recruiting is the biggest thing.
I mean, it's like
all those guys who leave, to go to the South, or to the
Right.
Big Ten, keep guys in California. Or most guys who have been just going to Oregon because that was the only Pac-12 team that was kind of just being relevant.
Exactly. So I think this game has a lot of impact. And you look at both these teams, this is going to be a really fun game, right? UCLA is 5th in scoring offense, USC is 7th. And then when it comes to defense, UCLA is 69th in total defense, and USC is 87th. So these are two teams with high-powered offenses and,
Ugly defense.
ugly defenses. Yeah, total defense and total offense, those are the stats there. So I look at this game. UCLA is a little bit more experienced. They have DTR, who's been there forever. You have Zach Charbonnet, who's been there forever. It feels like he was just at Michigan, but he's actually been at UCLA for like 2-3 years now.
I know, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. So USC, they did lose Travis Dye, stud running back.
It's a hurt.
That's a hurtful loss. You saw the impact he had. I think this is a USC team that rallies behind that, though. I think they use that to win this game for not only for Lincoln Riley, but for the future of USC football. Caleb Williams, I think, is one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the nation right now.
Top 4 for Heisman.
And I think this is a game that signifies that University of Southern California football is back. They are the face of LA. I am going with the fight on Trojans, baby. Give me USC minus 2.5. Let's hear it from you.
I agree. Big loss, Travis Dye. It's not. It is unfortunate, but also USC sometimes seems kind of like an air raid offense. They're just kind of like throw and go.
You got Jordan Addison, yeah.
Yeah, and but you still trust. You trust the guys behind them. UCLA seems at times to be a little bit more run heavy, but they still have outside weapons and they can throw it deep. Very similar. They have very similar play styles. The biggest thing will be like the Utah game. Who turns the ball over the least? Plain and simple. But if knowing USC, they're honestly just the better team. And if Caleb Williams is firing on all cylinders, you're not going to stop him.
No, I agree.
You're not going to stop him. And it could be a shootout, but fight on. I'm taking USC minus 2.5.
Let's go. I love that. I love that.
I love UCLA. I really do, but USC is going to win this game.
I feel a little dirty with USC. Like, I feel like I'm kind of conforming to,
like, ooh, Southern California. What's happening?
Let's go, USC.
Be like,
So-
I'd rather go to UCLA, but
I probably, but I'm gonna ride with the Trojans, man. Let's
me too,
do it.
baby.
I love
Let's fight
it.
together.
Let's do it.
Fight on. All right, and it's kind of crazy. It'd be even bigger if it was at USC.
Yeah, I mean,
But it is the Battle of LA. Oh, they should play this at SoFi Stadium. That'd be sick.
I think that'd be a great idea.
Like
because it's not like
promotion of like a Battle of LA. Well, now that they're ranked, it'd be a cooler promotion.
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, you have 2 iconic stadiums with both of those schools.
That's true.
Though. So it's
That's
like,
true.
do you want to take a game away from them at their own place? I don't know about that, but SoFi is gorgeous. It's beautiful.
The Rose Bowl gets there every year, so it's
that's
like
true. And I mean, SoFi is awesome. It is LA. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they want to make the stage bigger and grander.
Yeah, and that'd just be a money way,
Yeah. So, but hey, it's at UCLA, but I don't care. Give me the Trojans. It's the first road favorite I'm taking because all the games we got 2.5 point road favorites.
I'm riding all the roadies. Riding all the roadies. All right, last game, technically, on the slate for college. 10 Utah and the Utes head to Eugene. 12 Oregon coming off a fun loss last week. Playoff hopes very, very gone. Oregon plus 2.5. What we got, Evan?
You just mentioned it. Such a tragic, heartbreaking loss against Washington last week. I mean, Bo Nix, he went out for one series because he banged his knee. Something happened on that third down play when they were in Washington's red zone. It was a QB draw. He went inside. Something happened to his knee. I didn't really see much on the replay, but something happened. He was out for one series. The backup Thompson or whatever his name is comes in. I should know his name. Apologies to him. But, but he goes out for one series. All hell breaks loose. They turn it over on fourth down. I didn't like the decision to go for it on fourth down there in their own territory, but needless to say, Michael Penix Jr. He played unreal, and he haunts me. He's a ghost
all season.
Oh my gosh, he beat MSU earlier in the year. Now he beats Oregon. I'm starting to lose it with this guy. Penix is the bane of my existence. He's so good in these big games, and it drives me nuts because I'm going against him, and he's like, nope, you're gonna sit down and watch me dominate. So that's what happened last week. So you look at this game. Look, Cam Rising for Utah's, he's a stud muffin. Utah's great. I don't know if Bo Nix is going to play. Oregon being 2.5-point underdogs at home tells you probably that he's not playing. Maybe there's blown smoke, because I've read on Twitter that some of the Oregon players are saying he's not going to play. I don't know why they would say that. Doesn't really make much sense to me unless they're
just trying to play mind games.
I don't know if they're playing mind games, but to me, you usually like to keep things pretty close to the chest. You don't really like to give out much, on where players' injury statuses are at. And typically, college programs are much more close-knit than NFL teams are because NFL teams are required to show the injury report, on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the practice report. You kind of see who's limited, who's fully playing. It's not like that in college. So we don't really know where Bo Nix is at. This is a really tough game for me to pick, but I love my Ducks. And even if Bo Nix isn't playing, I like the fact that I'm getting 2.5 points now for Oregon at home. Even if he doesn't play, I think that they can keep it close. We're going to see what their backup is made of if he plays. But I know he's talented. I remember I looked at their QB situation. He was like a high 4-star coming out of high school, so he's got talent. We'll see what happens. I'm going to take the Ducks. Hopefully Bo Nix plays, so then I get crazy value on that game because when he was, supposed to be playing, it was like Oregon minus 2.5. Now it's Oregon plus 2.5. It's a big swing, so I'm going to take Oregon plus 2.5 here.
Fair enough. Well, Utah can win this game if they win the ground game because the passing game shouldn't be too much of a problem, honestly, because, Oregon's defense is technically, or their pass defense is technically the worst in the Pac-12.
It's not good. I mean, you saw Penix light them up. That was, a testament to Penix because he was making some darts, but yeah, that there was holes everywhere in the Oregon secondary.
No, I agree. Yeah, but Bo Nix playing is probably the biggest X factor. But overall, I think it's who truly wins the run game. But I agree. I like the value. I'm taking Oregon plus 2.5.
Ooh, we're both back on the Ducks.
I like Utah, and I probably would have picked Utah, but that switch up made me go Oregon.
It's weird because you look at a big point swing like that, crossing the bridge as they call it. Look, it would maybe lean you more towards Utah, but I think if you're getting an Oregon team that plays historically very well at home, I know they just lost to Washington last week, but they were riding a 23-game win streak at home, which was one of the longest streaks in college football at their own place. So it's unfortunate that streak has now come to an end, and it could even be more unfortunate that Bo Nix might not be able to go, but I still think this Oregon team is good enough to kind of trust them in this spot. I think that loss against Washington last week, I'm not going to say it was fluky, but if Bo Nix is in on that one series where he's out, I think that totally changes the dynamic of that drive and their ability to get that 4th and 1. If they do go for it with Bo Nix, I think there's a better chance they convert it than with what they, tried to do. So
no, I get you.
It was a heartbreaking loss. They had a chance to make plays. They didn't. They could have gone and scored a touchdown late in the fourth quarter when they had a 10-minute drive. They didn't do that. Look, I was watching that game intensely. I was basically there. I was basically in Eugene on the sideline watching the play. I can rattle off that game.
You were doing the push-ups with the duck.
It's seared in my brain, that game. So it's unfortunate they lost. I'm heartbroken because I do love my Ducks, but they lost. But I don't care. It's a new week. Oregon plus 2.5. Let's both ride on it.
Quack attack.
Quack attack, baby.
All right. The last one, this isn't going on anything. This is just a fun one for us.
This is all you, my guy.
This is all fun. College game day. Surprising that they're not headed to LA. I don't know why, but they are headed to fun Bozeman, Montana. For Montana at Montana State. It's the biggest rivalry in the Big Sky in Montana, in the state of Montana. It's probably all Montana has. But they are there, and over the years it's been Montana versus Montana State, the Grizzlies versus the Bobcats. This season, Montana is 7-3 on the season, 4-3 in the Big Sky. And Montana State is a surprising 9-1 and 7-0 in the Big Sky. Only one loss to, I believe, the third ranked team currently in the Big Sky. But Montana had won last year, which people were shocked by because after that they were that was their first win in the past 4 meetings against Montana State. So Montana State has mostly been the team. Let's see. All losses, though, for Montana, though, have been decided by a touchdown or less or an overtime. So they've played really close games. But and all 3 of those losses were teams in the top 5 of the division. But the biggest factors for both teams are the quarterbacks in this game. If Montana State's quarterback is going to play, or Montana's quarterback for the Grizzlies, if he's going to play, that's the biggest factor because his mobility is huge. He's a great runner, and he can just he runs the game out of the pocket if he can run. He's so versatile. But and then for Montana State, their biggest factor for the quarterback is making the big passes, big plays, because he's a pure pocket passer, but he's really good at being precise and just knowing how to be a field general. But it's him making the big plays. So it's a very crazy debate in that game. Me and Evan split it up for the fun of it. He's taking Montana State. I said I would take Montana. I'm not going to sleep on them because I actually watched some of that game last year, surprisingly. It was really weird. I turned it on, and that Montana quarterback is legit. He's a crazy good runner, but of course, he's coming off a leg injury. So we'll see what happens. It hasn't been in Montana's favor over the years or this season, but hey, go Grizzlies.
Look, I'm not going to act like I've watched any Montana football
or Big Sky
football, but it is a fun atmosphere. I do feel like Pat McAfee's got something at hand there. Like he's like, why don't we go to Montana? And they're like, let's do it.
In the cold of November.
So that's going to be a fun game. Good for Montana and Montana State to get some of that love, get some of that publicity, and it's a cool thing college football is doing. It's a little untraditional, but they did go to Jackson State earlier this year too. So
that was cool.
I like the fact that they're mixing up a little bit. You get the fans going there. You get different settings and landscapes, experiences, different campuses. It's cool that they're doing that, but I'm not gonna pretend like I know much about their football teams. So yeah, I'm around with the home team. I didn't even know their records.
Yeah, but there you go.
Told me. So yeah, let's go Bobcats, I guess.
It's in Bobcat Stadium. What a perfect name.
Woo!
But that is at a weird time of 2 p.m. on Saturday afternoon.
Big Sky football, 2 p.m.
Be there, 32 degrees. Tickets as low as $319. That's crazy.
Are you serious?
Yeah, when the next game in the Big Sky is Idaho State, and that's at $26.
They're charging $319 for this game?
That's the low. Tickets are at a low of $319. That because game day's going there, rivalry. I guess it's legit if you're in Bozeman. So shout out if you're in Bozeman.
Can't say you'll see me paying that for that game.
Absolute chaos. But anyway, we head to the NFL where teams have been injured. People have been dumped from teams. People thinking Aaron Rodgers is back. I don't know what's going on in this league anymore.
That's why we love it. That's why the NFL is king, because every week is a story. Every week is a new,
I still
new
disagree.
crazy thing
College
that's
is
happening.
king.
I don't know.
Just because you got Derrick Henry in the league.
I don't know. After my 5-0 week, I'm feeling pretty good about the NFL now.
After my complete winning season right now in the NFL, I'm feeling pretty good. I guess I can't defend. Neither of us can defend college football.
No,
Because it's just madness.
no, not after last week.
But anyway, we head to the NFL. Our boys are 2
Yes, sir.
wins straight. The Lions head to New York against the Giants. It is Giants -3. I don't know how the Lions ended up winning last week, but I'm happy they did. I didn't get that pick. Evan did. But hey, it's about time Evan picked the Lions solo, and he got it. They did it for him.
And I bet on the Lions every single week that we've done this, except for the bye week, of course. But this game against the Giants, it's a weird game, because the Giants they're 7-2. They've been playing good all year, but also it's not like they've done it convincingly. They don't have anyone in the passing game for Daniel Jones, unfortunately. And while I do applaud Daniel Jones for limiting his turnovers this year, he's been really careful with the football. They just have nothing down the field. And it sucks because I feel like with Saquon Barkley, if you were able to add someone that can stretch the field, someone that you have to account for over the top, this offense would be explosive because you'd have Saquon without guys crowding the box because they know the ball's going to Saquon, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So that plays a factor into it. And we know the Lions defense, they're not great. We know they're not great. And the weaknesses have been where? In the
Defense.
secondary. It's been mainly the secondary, though. They've figured some things out as of late. It feels like Jeff Okudah has had a really good season. But since Aubrey Pleasant got fired, unfortunately, it does feel like the secondary has gotten better. So you're looking at this Lions run defense. Ever since the addition of Josh Paschal, I think it's been good, but he's been limited this week in practice. He has not practiced yet. So when I look at this game, I'm looking at 2 teams, one that's overperformed every expectation and one that's underperformed every expectation, in my opinion. The Lions, I feel like, coming off of Hard Knocks, I think people thought they'd be better than 3-6. And I don't think anyone saw the Giants coming in at 7-2.
Absolutely.
So while the Lions, they're coming off a 2-game win streak. They got the elephant in the room out of the way with Dan Campbell winning his first road game. And the Giants have kind of overstayed their welcome atop the NFC East. I'm going to take the Detroit Lions +3. I've rode with them so many times that I'm not going to stop. So give me the Lions +3. I know Saquon's arguably been the MVP this year. If you're out of all the other quarterbacks, like if you exclude quarterbacks, it's probably Saquon's award to lose. But I don't care. I think the Lions keep winning. Let's get this win streak to 3. Then I think you have a Buffalo game on Thanksgiving Day that becomes a lot more exciting. So give me the Lions +3. I think they win this game, but I'm going to take them against the spread here. +3. Lay it on me.
Man. He's making me want to pick the Lions even more.
How'd you like that setup?
That really motivated me. Very swaying my mind. Now do I think? Do I feel motivated in a different direction, or do I stay true?
Well, let me tell you this. We know the Giants defense has been very good this year. So if the Giants defense, while their run defense has not been great, they've been very good creating turnovers. They've been very good in the secondary. They've been really good at getting to the quarterback too. But their run defense overall is not great. So I don't know. We've seen a little bit more of Swift. We've seen a little bit more Swift. Jamal Williams he's been sick this week, but he was back at practice today, I believe. So I don't know what you're feeling. I don't know if that changes anything.
I really hope the Lions win this game.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
I
You
really
set me up last week. You said the same thing last week.
I really hope they win this game, and it worked out for you.
It did, but I want us to both celebrate with this, like winning here and then winning the Lions.
You know what? I'll take the Lions
Yes.
plus 3.
Yes.
You convinced me enough. I'm taking the Lions plus 3.
Yes. Please, let me tell you this. The Giants, they're not winning this game.
If
I
we
applaud
walk
what
in-
they've done, but they're not winning this game.
I will give you $5 if we walk into Thanksgiving game on a 3-game win streak.
They're going to win this game. I think last week was a huge win. If they lose that game against Chicago, all bets are off. They'd be 2-7 right now. You're looking at this game like, no chance. You're looking at the Bills, no chance. You're looking at 2-9 for this team if they don't win last week. But they pulled it out in the fourth quarter. They got it done. They did things that they normally do. A pick six late in the game, not being able to move the ball on fourth down, a hands to the face when you got a game-changing interception, right? That's stuff that happens to the Lions. But this past game, it didn't. The Lions were on the receiving end of some boneheaded plays by Chicago, and it rewarded them. They took advantage of it. We saw Jared Goff throw an interception, right? But the hands to the face, you know what it led to? A touchdown for the Lions. That's huge. You're looking at a pick six by Okudah. That's insane.
We've been waiting for that to
Off
happen.
of a great pass rush by Aiden Hutchinson. Then Justin Fields' 67-yard touchdown run. What do the Lions do? They respond. They get that game-winning touchdown. They take advantage of Cody Parkey, Cody Parkey. I'm thinking the double doink, the triple doink. Cairo Santos misses the extra point. Unfortunate, but hey.
So that's how the cookies crumble
Sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles. And guess what? 2-game win streak. You win the game on the road. Now you're feeling good about yourself. You're feeling hot. And this is a Giants team that I think has gotten a little lucky this year. I know they're 7-2, but not every break is going to go your way. So I love that I convinced you because I know you were setting it up. I really hope they win this game.
You read my mind, my friend.
You said it last week, and I was like, God, don't do this to me.
They did it. I'm riding with you. Let's ride into Let's ride into Thanksgiving and past Thanksgiving with a 4-game win streak.
Dude, do not tease
and
me
make
like that.
the playoffs.
I'm gonna tell you what.
If we do that,
we got a little special coming for you on Turkey Day. But I just looked at the Lions spread on that game right now, plus 10.
Teaser 4-game win streak.
Plus 10 against the Bills.
The Bills we're gonna start getting in their head now that they're playing in Detroit on Sunday due to weather movement conditions.
They're gonna be a little intimidated by
Detroit fans are gonna be hounding them all week.
They need to be. I don't want to see if Detroit fans are going down to the game Sunday. I don't want to see them rooting for the Bills. We need to get in their minds. You're not welcome here. But we want you to lose. They cannot be. Oh, Josh Allen!
Yeah,
you need to be fierce. You need to boo them. I don't care if it's technically a home game for the Bills. They need to be irate. We want them to lose. We want them to suffer. We want them to hear us.
We want them coming to Detroit on a 2-game losing streak while we're coming in on a 3-game winning streak.
Goodness me! Could you imagine?
All cards point Lions. Book it.
Let's win this week against New York, and then we'll talk Thanksgiving.
We'll talk Wednesday.
We're on to New York. Let's get this win.
All right, baby. Head to Jets, Patriots, minus 3.5 Pats. Jets have been both teams have been very up and down. Jets defense has been playing pretty well. They got that win against the Bills, which started this downfall. But, that'd be a 3-game losing streak for the Bills. I thought too. Wow. Oh, 3-game losing streak against a 3-game winning streak? All right, we'll save it.
Please.
Don't need to get you riled up right now.
No.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is a weird game. Patriots, both teams have been looking weird on both sides of the ball, I feel like.
Well,
the Jets finally got, they've been playing good, but they finally had a realization. Like how the Giants still haven't had that yet.
What's weird about the New York teams is they don't look that good, like on offense specifically. Like for the Jets, it was Breece Hall before he went down. For the Giants, it's obviously Saquon Barkley. But other than that, there really hasn't been a lot of juice on offense for either of these teams. But their defenses have been playing outstanding. And the Jets defense specifically, Sauce Gardner looks like one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. Quinnen Williams is a stud. You have so many playmakers. DJ Reed, too, in the back end. He's been incredible as a cornerback as well for them. But the Patriots are on a 13-game win streak against the Jets, dating back to 2015. The last time they played in Foxborough, the Pats put up 45 points in the Jets. I think Mac Jones, having the bye week to assess the timing, the footwork, So maybe some of his mechanics, just route running in general, syncing that up correctly, getting the offense back on track because it has been off the rails a little bit. I know they've been winning games. The Patriots have. They have a 2-game win streak. They beat the Colts, and then before that they beat I think it was the Jets. So so they've been able to win games, but they haven't done it convincingly or in a manner in which the offense looks good. But I look at this Jets team.
You're correct.
Good. I know my Pats.
Yeah, they've won 22-17 against the Jets and 26-3 against the Colts.
Right. So both these defenses play outstanding brands of football, and I'm just going to trust that the Patriots defense gets it done again. They're at home. They have had the bye to reassess this offense. I do love what the Patriots have been able to do with the ground game, but the efficiency needs to raise. And that comes with Mac Jones being a more efficient quarterback, getting the timing right, making sure that the passing game is actually a threat so that teams can have to, stay on their feet, stay on their toes, be off balanced. The Patriots offense has been a bit abysmal with Patricia running the show. I think given the bye week, they'll figure it out. Pats -3.5. I'm wearing Ramondre for a reason. He's my guy. I love this pick. Pats -3.5. I'm a biased guy, but I look at this game. This win streak plays way too much of a factor for me, and Bill Belichick against Zach Wilson just feels like a layup.
Fair enough, my friend. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, hey, if this game ends up like the last one, it's a perfect cover. It's a perfect cover, literally. 22-17, 3.5, man. That's a beautiful cover.
I do worry about this game being a field goal game, but
I do too, because I was honestly worried. I'm thinking about picking the Jets in that +3.5 because
you get the hook.
Literally just for that factor, like knowing that the Patriots will probably win, but just the factor of that, like that field goal kind of game. But Riders.
Got to ride with the boys.
I'm Evan convinced me to ride with the hometown, and I'm gonna ride with our other hometown.
Yes, sir.
Foxborough.
Yes, sir.
And Patriots are gonna get it done -3.5.
I love it. I do feel like the bye week really allows this team to get stuff right offensively because I was watching NFL Live. Dan Orlovsky was, sometimes
It's so funny
sometimes
to
I
see
don't
him.
watch
I get you.
the shows because a lot of it's just stupid. But I was actually very curious, and then I saw it on Twitter, so I watched it a couple times over, and I was like, Mac Jones really is not on the same page with his receivers. Like he's taking his dropbacks, he's getting into like his reads. He's ready to throw the ball way before his receivers are ready to catch the ball. And so when you're a quarterback, you have that mental clock in your head, like, oh crap, like I'm probably about to get sacked right now. I need to make something out with my legs. Mac Jones is not that kind of guy. So he needs to be, protected in the pocket, having time to make throws, but mentally he's saying to himself, I have to rush this. Everything feels rushed so far for the Patriots passing game. I think it was a little bit different with Zappe because I think Zappe was, for whatever reason, on the same page with his receivers. I don't know why it's not the case with Mac Jones, but you go from Josh McDaniels to Matt Patricia, that's a huge difference. I don't love McDaniels as a head coach, but I loved him as an OC. You don't have that now, and I think Mac Jones is still adjusting to that.
It
so
makes no sense.
It doesn't. But I do feel for Mac Jones because he's getting ripped on, he's getting shredded. Look, he took this team to the playoffs last year. He was clearly the best rookie QB last year. He's struggling with a new OC, and I think that's a given because I don't think they're doing the best to put him in the most successful position.
Patricia needs to be retired.
You're not going to see me complain.
No,
I would love to see him get exiled from the NFL.
No, he needs to because he ruined. He made worse a Lions organization. He rode the mind of Bill Belichick for years, making him look like he knew how to play. He knew how to construct a defense, and now they have him on offense.
Doesn't make sense.
Running all these calls. He's not the next Bill Belichick. I don't think him or McDaniels could have done it, but McDaniels probably would have had a better shot in New England as a head coach compared to anywhere else. And I still think he'd be better than Patricia, but I don't think either can just replace Bill Belichick. I don't think either of them could, no matter what. But
no, it's frustrating. But the Pats are still 5-4, and they're in the playoffs right now. If this season ended, they'd be a playoff team. So it's like we're complaining because our expectations growing up as Pats fans have been this high, mainly due to Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. But when you are a Super Bowl contender and a 6-time Super Bowl champ, your expectations should be up here. So we expect more out of the Patriots. We expect more out of this staff. And when you're looking at the games, when you're watching the games and you're seeing this happen, of course, you're going to be a little bit more concerned when stuff doesn't look the way it's supposed to look. But I think the bye week comes at a really good time for the Pats to figure this out. And I expect, Mac Jones said, I did a full audit over the bye. I love that. So I expect the Pats to cover this spread.
Interesting. I'm excited, especially Thanksgiving, Patriots in Minnesota.
That's going to be a great game.
We'll talk about that later.
Yes.
Onward to, it's kind of an ugly game.
It is an ugly game.
Raiders at Broncos, -2.5. I mean, Raiders looking bad? Is Broncos country dying? I don't know what's going on in this game.
So, I mean, offensively, the Broncos are a train wreck. They're so bad. And the Raiders defensively are terrible as well. So it's like not even offensively the Raiders are good, but their defense is brutal. And, I saw a stat on Twitter. I forget who said it, but it was like if the Broncos had scored 18 points in all of their games, they'd be 8-1 right now. That's it. If they had scored 18 points on offense, they'd be 8-1. That's insane. 18 points is nothing in the NFL.
So like pretty much 2 touchdowns and kind of a field goal.
Yeah, that's nothing in the NFL. So when you look at that stat, you're like, that's how bad the offense is? Yeah, it's been that bad. Look, I think after last week, the Raiders, it was a frustrating loss. They've had the ball to win, or at least, tie it, go to overtime several times at the end of the game this season, and they just have not been able to get it done. I think when you see the emotion on Derek Carr's face, he was crying in the postgame.
That was crazy.
Josh Jacobs was quoted this week saying it's so frustrating because this is the best team he's been a part of. This is the most talented group he's been a part of. And to be in the spot they're in with only 2 wins, I think this is a game where the Raiders galvanize themselves. They get up off the mat. It's 2.5 right now in favor of the Broncos. I think this is a spot for the Raiders to get it right, get a win. I love this team in this game. Not overall, because they've been miserable, but in this game, this is a bounce-back game for them. This is an emotional bounce-back game. That kind of vibe that I'm getting from them right now. So I'm going to go with the Raiders +2.5.
Interesting. You know what's crazy? The first win of the season for the Raiders was against Denver in Vegas, which is crazy. And it was a 32-23 win for Vegas. That was shocking. I thought about that, and I had to go back and look to double check with that. It's crazy. The only 2 teams the Raiders have beat are the ugly Texans and the Broncos. Derek Carr was crying. The team has talent. They're heading to Mile High. But I don't believe in them. They ruined my life last week. And I'm not letting them ruin it again. I think it's going to be a close one, but I'm taking the Broncos -2.5. Broncos country, we're not riding, but we're going to slide. We're going to slide by.
It's a good pick. It is because as much as the Raiders need to bounce back, so do the Broncos. I mean, it's true that these are 2 teams that have been performing so far below expectations, it doesn't even make sense. The Raiders have the number 2 overall pick in the NFL draft right now. That's insane because they added Devontae Adams. Like he
misses Green Bay.
They theoretically got better this offseason, and they're in line to pick 2 in the draft. It doesn't make sense to me, but like you said, we got 2 emotional teams right here. We got 2 really train wrecks. It's pick your poison. So that's why I put it on here, because I like these kinds of games where it's basically a pick 'em, right? You can kind of choose which one you're going to ride with, which team you hate a little less this week, and you go with it. This is a very similar vibe to Colts and Raiders last week. And while I picked the Colts last week, I'm going to pick the opposite this week.
Change it up.
Might as well.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Onward. Another big day in LA, kind of.
Massive game in LA.
Potential season-changing, playoff-changing kind of game. Division
For one team.
Division.
especially.
Division-changing. The Chiefs at Chargers plus 4.5. Chargers are 5-4, 2-2 in the division. Chiefs come in at 7-2, 3-1 in the division. I mean, even if the Chiefs lose, they're still going to be first in the division. Arguably, I think so. But
Yeah, they will be.
well, actually, would they be? Because both would be 3-2. But they have
Chiefs
split.
are 7-2, so they'd
Yeah,
because
because they have split wins.
Yeah, they'd be
'cause-
fine.
Yeah, but the Chiefs, barely kind of won that game. And there was some unfortunate things that happened at the end of the last time they played in Kansas City. But Chargers been weird lately, man. I don't know what they've really like how we talk about how New York, and Minnesota have been surprising in a positive way. The Chargers have been surprising in a negative way.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Chargers, they've added what feels like a ton of talent on both ends of the football. Now, the issue with them is, and for me, it's Herbert. This is a team that's averaging the most pass attempts per game. They average 43 pass attempts per game, but they're only averaging, Herbert is only averaging 6.1 yards per attempt this season. So while you're throwing the ball a ton, his YPA is a meager 6.1. That is not a lot. And last year, it was 7.4. So you're talking about almost a 1.5 yard difference per attempt. It doesn't feel like a ton, but that is huge in the NFL. When you're averaging 7.4 yards per attempt, that's crazy as opposed to 6.1. I've seen videos of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams practicing this week. That'll be massive for them to come back. I don't know if they both come back or if one comes back or if neither come back. That's going to be determined later on. But if they can go, I think there's a lot of value here in the 4.5 points. The Chargers are 6-3 against the spread this year. The Chiefs are 4-5. I think this is a field goal game, and I think if this is like a 10-point game late, Herbert's good for a garbage time touchdown to get to 3. So while I don't know if the Chiefs lose this game, I don't think they cover this 4.5 points. I think that's a little too much in a primetime game. These games are usually a field goal difference. Most games are. So I'm going to ride the Chargers here plus 4.5.
Injury report as of right now: Kansas City Chiefs questionable. Juju Smith-Schuster.
I don't think he'll play
Jerick
after that big hit.
McKinnon's questionable. MVS is questionable. We got who's out now? Hardman's on the IR.
Right.
As of right now, we got Dustin Hopkins. He's kicker. He's questionable. But Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are currently questionable still. So it's an interesting setup. I agree. Prime time. It's a great time for the Chargers to kind of get their flow back. It may be a tough, tight game, but I agree. I don't think the Chiefs will cover it, and I'm riding Chargers for plus 4.5.
I like that. I like that we're both on that one because it's a really tough game to pick for me, at least.
It is.
Because I look at the Chiefs, and I'm confident in them. I'm confident in them being a Super Bowl contender, but they don't cover spreads. They're 4-5 against the spread. It's weird, right? Because a team as dominant as the Chiefs have been, you'd think they'd cover more numbers. They just don't. So it's like, okay, my eyes are telling me the Chiefs are like the best team in the NFL, but then on paper, they're 4-5 against the spread. So
yeah, they're winning these like 25-21 games or like 21-19 games, and they're riding that to 7-2 right now. Viking mentality.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think this is just a little too much. But, Mahomes has been on a heater in the month of November, December. I think, if I remember seeing the stat correctly, he's on like 23 or 24 game win streak in the month of December and November.
Serious?
Yeah, combined. He's been on an absolute heater. But that doesn't mean against the spread. That's just outright. So the Chiefs have been winning games in these months, in the big months too. I mean, November, December, that's kind of when you make your push. It's kind of like Saturday at a major golf tournament. That's moving day. That's November and December. That's when, you start ramping it up. You get into that mode where you're looking, all right, we can see the end of the regular season approaching. Where are we at? What do we need to do? That's what the Chiefs have been doing the past few years since they've, been this Super Bowl caliber team. So at the end of the day, I think the Chiefs probably win this one, but I
Yeah.
like Chargers plus 4.5.
Agreed. Well, the little Monday Night Football bonus,
A little bonus.
as we head a little south of the border,
A little bit.
a Monday night game in Mexico City. We got the 49ers and Cardinals. Cardinals are the home team in this game. It is plus 8.5. Cardinals. Wow. These
I
are
know.
two teams that it's like well, it's crazy that the Seahawks are at the top right now of the NFC West.
I know.
Which is kind of crazy, but these two teams are still battling it out. You know? The Rams have really just fallen. These two teams could have fallen, but they're just kind of fighting to just stay alive right now. One team is a little better, you could argue, right now, but I think it's going to be a good game, honestly, the way the Cardinals have been playing recently as well.
I think it should be a good game, and the report came out that Kyler Murray could be out for another week or two.
That's crazy.
So while we all know that Kyler Murray is a more talented quarterback than Colt McCoy, it feels like Colt McCoy, just the pro that he is, just the corporate guy, it feels like he's got a little bit more control of this offense. He's an adult in the room, right? He just feels like we know he's not better than Kyler.
It's been in the league for like 10 years already.
I know. Texas legend. Look, Colt McCoy is just one of those guys that you trust to get you through a few games every year if you need him to. Like he's a dependable backup in the NFL, and they were able to put up 27 points on a Rams defense that, while it's not
Perfect.
the way it was last year, it's not as dominant as it was last year. It's still a good squad. You still have to go up against Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. You still have
Wagner.
to deal with that. So while it's not like Colt McCoy was lighting it up and he looked like the best quarterback in the NFL, I thought he looked really good last week and really efficient as well. The Niners defense gives up 8 yards per attempt too, so that bodes well for the Cardinals passing attack. The Niners are very good against the run though, so I don't expect James Conner and Keontae Ingram, minus Eno now.
Yeah, that's a very unfortunate
to light it
man.
up, on the ground game. But it is in Mexico City. It's a fun environment. 8.5 points. That's kind of a lot of points for me.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the Niners are a good squad. I think they have the potential to be a Super Bowl contender. Just in the NFC, how weak it is. I think on paper they're the most talented team outside of maybe Philly, but 8.5 points, that's a lot of points. I know Colt McCoy might go, but it just feels like too much for me. I'm going to take the Cardinals here.
Yeah, I mean, the Nick Bosa's a little bit more healthier. He's going to be back playing pretty well this week. I love that it's a fun Monday night game in Mexico City. That's kind of hype.
That is hype.
But I always feel like it's the Cardinals that head there. I don't know if it's me.
Well, the last iconic game that we got in Mexico City was that Rams-Chiefs game, if you remember.
I thought it was Chiefs and Bucks.
No.
Was it that game? I thought
Yeah,
I thought that was in the Coliseum.
I feel like it was in Mexico City. I'll look it up really quick, but you run it down. You run it down here with this game.
All right. Everything about this game is a battle. The 49ers definitely are the better team. I agree. Cardinals are looking okay, pretty good after that win against LA. LA has been beaten up. I agree Colt McCoy is a legit quarterback. He may not be your, change dynasty, franchise changing quarterback, but he's a guy who's probably the best, arguably probably top 3, if not the best. Backup in the league right now, and he could just carry you to win after win if it's needed. It may not be full season, and it may not be Nick Foles style that one year, but look where Colt McCoy has been consistent, and Nick Foles has fallen off very quickly. So Colt McCoy is a trusty guy. He's consistent. He knows what he's doing. I am taking the Cardinals plus 8.5 as well.
I love it. And
I do think the Niners win. But I think
I agree. I think the Niners are a better football team, but you get 8.5 points. Primetime game. I know it's Mexico City, and you were right. It was supposed to be Mexico City, that Rams-Chiefs game in 2019, the 54-51 game, but it got moved back to the Coliseum because of field conditions in Mexico City. This year,
that would have been a crazy game.
Feels like the field conditions are going to be good.
I don't think it's going to be that kind of game, but
yeah, I don't think you're going to see 50 points from either of these teams, but I do think this game could be a little high scoring. I'm not saying crazy, but I feel like you can maybe get 30-24, maybe something in that ballpark. I think this ends up being like a 4 to 7 point differential. 8.5 points. it feels like the Cardinals might be able to get a backdoor slide in there. They're down by 14. You get a late touchdown. Well, now, they're back in the green, So I do agree. We're putting our faith in Colt McCoy. We're going to put our faith in Colt McCoy, and I love that.
Trust the man. Trust the man with the plan. Anyway, vamonos.
All right.
To the rundown.
Yes, sir. So, starting off back in college football, we got TCU at Baylor. I'm running at the Baylor Bears, and you are on the Horned Frogs. Just, I don't know. We'll see how that one
Horned
goes.
Frogs up.
That's Baylor plus 2.5. So I'm Ryan Baylor. You're Ryan TCU. We got Ole Miss at Arkansas. I'm running at the Razorbacks. He's running at the Rebels. No surprise
Toddy,
there.
baby.
Then we head down to UCLA, where we are both on the Trojans at minus 2.5.
Fight on.
Let's go Lincoln. Let's go Caleb. Utah at Oregon, our last college game. We are both on the Ducks at plus 2.5. We'll see if Bo Nix goes.
We'll see.
We'll see about that one. We're scared, but
That could be a walk-in. Bo Nix doesn't play. It could be a potential walking win for the Utes.
facts. On to the NFL. Lions at Giants. I convinced this man to go with the Detroit Lions. You know I'm right at the Lions. They're at plus 3, and we love that pick.
3-game streak.
Let's ride into Thanksgiving with a little winner right there.
Winner, turkey dinner.
Yes, sir. Jets at Pats, our second game in the slate. We are both on the Pats, minus 3.5. 13-game win streak.
Riders.
You cannot ignore that. Pats, minus 3.5. Raiders at Broncos. I'm right at the Raiders. An emotional Derek Carr. You're riding
with Broncos
Mr.
country.
Unlimited and Russell Wilson at plus 2.5 for me,
Let's
minus
ride.
2.5 for
Slightly.
the Broncos.
Let's ride carefully.
Then heading on to Chiefs at Chargers Sunday Night Football. We are both on bolts in that one, plus 4.5 for the Chargers. And then in Mexico City, we're taking you south of the border. Niners at Cardinals. We are both around the Cardinals at plus 8.5. Too many points for the Niners. Just too many points.
Yes, too many points.
So
Agreed.
that is it for episode 6, my friend.
That is the rundown. That was beautiful.
9 picks this week. Hopefully it's a little bit better than last week for you. Honestly, I would not mind going 0-4 in college again to repeat with a 5-0 in NFL.
He just wants those stats boosted.
If my NFL record is 18-11-2, I'll be like, okay. Okay.
Well, Evan is on a college revenge tour after last week. I'm just trying to get back to even par. And it'll be a crazy week. We'll see what happens. Shout out Bozeman, Montana. College game day's headed there. It'll be a wild one. Still hoping the Grizzlies pull it out. We'll see. It could be a crazy one. Shout out Mexico City. I hope you guys get a good game because you missed out on a legendary one a couple of years ago. But who knows? Those are the picks. That's what we think. Take it, leave it, trust it, don't. We do what we want. That's all I can say at the end of the day.
Hey, man, we said it from day one. Not real advice, all right? It's not real advice, but you can have fun with us. Ride with us. Fade us. We love it either way. Continue to comment. Continue to spread the love. Spread the hate. We don't care. We're having fun either way.
All
and
we
look,
need.
like we said a couple weeks ago, and it still holds true, if you rided with us, you'd be positive right now. I'm at 26-23-2. He's at 25-23-2. And if you just went by, individual, say you trusted me for college and trusted him for NFL, you'd be even better. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you do, but just know we're having fun doing it. And we hope you enjoy riding with us, watching us, listening to us, whatever you're doing, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, whatever. Subscribe,
like, comment,
blah, blah, blah.
All you need to know is we up.
We're up, and we're going to continue to be up. We're staying up, and let's keep riding on.
Alrighty, y'all. That'll be another episode. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Adios.